Welcome to our podcast. I'm Dad's ex.
And I'm the next.
And this week we actually have a plan.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah. And our plan grew last night because of events that happened.
This morning.
Yeah, this morning.
Well, it was last
I'm so
night.
tired.
But yeah. 4 hours of sleep. Woo!
Yeah, I mean, I'm used to running on that because of my
Yeah.
job, but
I am not. It's actually really exciting. I have been accepted as an ambassador for Marco Polo. Which, if you're not familiar with that, it is a social media app. It's an app where you can communicate with others via video messages. A lot of people are like, well, isn't that what Snapchat's for? But the cool thing about Marco
Yeah.
Polo is that you can watch in real time or you can save it to watch later, but the videos never expire or disappear. So you can really talk to each other asynchronistically, which is really, really convenient for moms.
and there's not a time limit on it. Is the other thing that's like different from Snapchat is it's not like, okay, you have a minute to get your point across. Like we've sent each other like we just start rambling and send each other like 20-minute long Marcos.
Yeah, it's insane. The really cool thing about this, though, as an opportunity for me, I don't get paid to do this. Like, this isn't like a sponsored post or anything like that. This was something that I applied to be a part of because I am really passionate about what can be accomplished with the app. Yeah, the benefits of it are huge. And I just really stand by what the company believes in and like how they run their business. The company that makes the app, Marco Polo's been around since about 2014. Like, they're not really in it for the money. The app is completely free to use, but there is like a premium like membership that you can pay for extra benefits if you wanted to. But the free version is great.
We've been using the free version since we started using it, up until a month ago. You got the family plan.
Yeah, and like I said, this is not sponsored by any way. Like, I paid full price for the family plan, but that's just because of like how often I use this app. Like,
we use it daily.
Yeah, we use it daily. I ended up opting for like the family plan, and so because of that, I'm able to add members to my plus plan to where
Nick was like, what the hell's what is this message I'm getting from Jess? I'm part of some family plan thing now.
Yeah.
What's happening?
But then they also get the benefits of like the premium, and they don't have to pay for it because I'm already paying for it, which is really cool. So I have my husband, I have Nick, Shelby on there so that we can just communicate daily.
Nick just signed up for Marco Polo. Like,
I was shocked when I saw the notification. I was like, whoa.
Well, he did it Wednesday because I sent him a Snapchat with the court update.
Oh.
And so he's like, I'm just going to download Marco Polo if this is how you're going to communicate, because it seems easier the way that like you and Jess do it. And so he's still new to it and like didn't realize until Friday. He's like, oh, you can rewatch videos.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, it's not Snapchat, honey.
Yeah,
this is why Jess and I use this.
Yeah, it's amazing. And like the premium features, like the reason why I ended up paying for it is because one, you get the speed up option. So you can like double or triple the speed of videos if you wanted to. But I also love the scratch pad feature that it has. So you can take notes as the other person's talking. So like we'll have videos where we literally are rambling for like 20 minutes.
And then we forget. We like think of like, oh, I need to respond to this, but then the video keeps going. And by the time we respond, our videos, you'll see, end up getting shorter and shorter and shorter because we're responding to less and less and less because we forget.
Yeah. So I'll like take notes as Shelby's talking of like, oh yeah, respond to this, respond to this, respond to this. And then it'll sit there while I'm recording so I can like go through my own notes and make sure that I'm like addressing.
Like a checklist.
Yeah.
Checklist.
Which is great for like my ADHD ass brain because then I'll like fucking squirrel, go on a different tangent, and then come back to my note.
No.
What?
Not you.
I would never. So I really like using that feature too. But there's like a ton of other features that
you can react, which is fun. So it's like she'll send me videos of Caden and I'll do like a heart to like what he's saying, which you can see pop up like at the moment that they send it, which is kind of cool. And then like I can watch her live like while she's doing the video, and she'll get like, there will be a little bubble that will say Shelby is here, so she knows that I'm like actively listening to her in that moment.
Yeah.
I will, like, if I have a bad night at work, 3:30 in the morning, I'm sending her a Marco while I'm driving home, and I'm like, I know that you're sleeping, but you'll watch this when you wake up.
Yeah.
Or there was one day where I got 3 back to back from her.
Oh God, I felt so
while
bad.
I was working, and I'm like stressing out, like, oh my God, something's happening. There's an emergency. I never get this many from her right away. Like, something bad happened. And then I go on my break, and it was an emergency, but it was not an emergency.
I don't even remember what it was.
I think it was the job interviews.
Oh, yeah. I was like recapping the interviews.
Yeah.
So being a Marco Polo ambassador, essentially, the reason why I signed up for it is because, one, we use it every day, but I love the app. I've been a part of a couple of meetings already, and just like seeing how different people use it across the community has been so cool to see. Like, there's veteran groups that like Marco Polo each other.
Cool.
There are people, they have one community where it's like cancer patients all in one ward of the hospital, and they'll like check in with each other throughout the day, because when you're a cancer patient on chemo or like severe radiation, like you can't interact face to face. But it's like the key to lifelong happiness is having close relationships. So when you're in like those types of situations, or your best friend moves across the country, like I saw a lot of those types of relationships too. Like, it's just incredible to see like how this app can bring people closer together. And I honestly think that it's done a lot for our relationship and bringing us closer for co-parenting.
Well, and it's nice too, because it's not like the commitment of like an actual phone call,
Right.
Where you have like, can have like awkward moments of silence, or like you're busy doing something, so it's not the best time. It's like
you have to like actively
Right.
participate and not be doing anything else.
Right. It's like, if I'm in the middle of doing something, or like my kids are screaming and crying, I can wait to respond to her for however long I need to, and then respond. Because a lot of people will be like, why don't you just? Because that's what Nick used to do. Why don't you just FaceTime each other? Why are you guys? And it's like, well, this is so much more convenient.
Yeah,
like,
way more
it's
convenient.
the same thing as like having a phone call, but being able to not like fully make the commitment of a phone call, I guess.
Well, and it's like, that's why it's so perfect for moms, because
Mhm.
we're juggling so many different things that it's like, I can put down the phone, go make Kaden a snack, or, you know, do whatever I need to do and still be present, like at home in my life. And you can't really do that with
on the phone.
Yeah, on the phone. Like, I'd have to be like, okay, hold on, let me put my phone down for a second, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
And then you're like having to rush through whatever you're doing to get back to the phone call.
But it's nice because like we've been able to have, I mean, the last couple months have been crazy. Like we said, we haven't gotten to hang out as much as like we normally would. And so it's sometimes it's kind of like we're hanging out when we're like in a Marco Polo conversation, which is really cool. But also it's hard to have like serious conversations, or I don't know, like over text messages. Like, things can get misinterpreted, or like I just don't have the mental energy to sit there and type out all of my thoughts, and it's easier for me to just say them sometimes. So it's like her and I can have important conversations through Marco Polo and not have to text about it. We can just actually talk about it, which has been really nice.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I wanted to bring up this conversation. And I just became the ambassador, but May is Maternal Mental Health Awareness Month. And I know that we've talked about like our struggles in the past, especially being pregnant during COVID, where you literally cannot interact with other people like during that time frame. Marco Polo it should be an app that I think everybody should use, but especially for moms. There are moms out there who feel like they're alone and they're struggling by themselves, and they're going through this like really difficult time in their lives. And like, I know that when I was a new mom with Carly, like, I couldn't hang out with my friends anymore because they didn't have kids and they didn't understand. And I was so young, like all of my friends were like out partying and whatever, that you do feel like really lonely. And like, there are times where I don't want to get dressed and get out and do anything. Like, I just want to be at home. But Marco Polo like gives you that ability to still build and maintain and be social so that you can maintain those relationships while being a mom. And that's super, super important, especially with like postpartum depression. Like being a mom is really hard.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I use it with more than just like Jess. Like I will talk to my sister-in-law through Marco Polo about things, or like when we're making plans, like it's just easier to make plans through Marco Polo than texting sometimes.
Yeah.
And then I have a sister who lives in Texas now, and so I'll send her videos of like the kids saying hi to her, because it's like she can go back and rewatch those rather than like on Snapchat she can't.
Yeah.
Like they're gone once
Well,
they're
especially
gone.
the time difference too. Like you guys are still able to have those face-to-face communications, whether it's like, what is it? She's 2 hours, 3?
2 hours ahead, I think.
Yeah. So you can still have those conversations and not have to like coordinate a phone call that's like within the time range for both of you.
Yeah. Well, and she's also currently pregnant, so she's feeling better now, but like her first trimester wrecked her. And so it's like she didn't have the energy for a full phone call.
Yeah.
So it's like I can still like Marco her if it's something that like I don't want to text out or whatever. But yeah, so, and it's cool too because you can have like group Marcos, which I didn't know until she started a group Marco with her, myself, and William.
Yeah, because I do the same thing. We're all like decompress after work, but I was finding that I was like
doing it twice.
I was doing it twice. I was doing it with William and with Shelby, and I was like, screw this. I'm just going to do a group Marco Polo where I'm going to, and so it's cool because then everybody can see it and everyone can contribute. And so it's like we're having a 3-way conversation, which is really handy. So yeah, you can do group conversations too if you wanted to. It's really cool. And so for Maternal Mental Health Awareness Month, I actually do have a unique link that I'll be posting in the bio, where you can try 2 months of Marco Polo Premium for free. No credit cards required or anything like that. So you can sign up for the app, give it a try premium for 2 months. If you like it, obviously, like you can sign up.
Or just switch to the free version.
Or just switch to the free version. Like I said, like this is not a paid sponsorship. It's not an ad. I don't get any kickbacks or anything like that from this. It's just us sharing our love for this app that is really beneficial for friendship. So if you want to give it a try, the link will be in the description of this video.
Okay, so
get your tea ready.
Yeah, get your tea ready. Or your hot cocoa in my case.
Do you watch that guy on TikTok where he's like, get your tea ready, and he'll make a cup of tea and then he shares like fucking juicy ass stories? Oh my god, I'm gonna have to send you because the like.
Should I make a TikTok series that's not who the fuck did I marry, but who the fuck was I born to?
Yes.
Who the fuck birthed me?
Yeah. She has like Netflix specials. She's been on red carpet. She got a free car.
Yeah, like this could be it.
Like let's do it.
This could be what gets us going.
Really good.
Who the fuck birthed me?
I love that.
Okay, so a lot has happened.
Yes.
In the last week. We gave Jesse his first phone. That was exciting.
He's
very excited for that.
He's so excited. I got the biggest hug.
Yeah, because so he's 11. He's very independent and like we've talked about, like pretty emotionally mature for his age. And he has friends in our neighborhood that he wants to go hang out with, but we weren't comfortable with it because of the phone. And I always wanted his first phone to be an iPhone because of the parental controls and safety features. So before I bought one, I reached out to Jess, and she had an old iPhone that she gave to me to give to him. That is blue, which is one of his favorite colors.
Oh yeah, it couldn't have been more perfect.
Yeah. So he was super excited. The kids had a sock hop fundraiser dance on Friday, and I guess I wasn't there. I was volunteering at the dance. But I guess he like ran up to her and gave her a big hug and said thank you, and
which was amazing because like Jesse he's very like cool, and so he like the most that I usually get from is like, hey, sup.
Yeah.
So for him to like run up to me and give me a big hug, I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
I know that you're thanking me, but thank you.
Yeah. He's very much in that stage of like, I'm too cool to like.
For real. For him to like hug me in front of his friends too, I was like, I'm so honored.
This is such a privilege.
It really
I need a
is.
tissue. But yeah, so he's been very excited. We went over like all the rules and how big of a responsibility it is, and
Yep.
he's been doing very good. And yeah, the kids had a dance. I won a basket, which was really
A
exciting.
bougie basket
Yeah,
too.
I got a spa self-care basket, which
I
is
love how they
great.
even announced they were like, the mom of twins
Yeah.
deserves this.
Yeah, they were like, oh, the moms of twins really does need this. Good thing she won it. But yeah, it's like a spa self-care basket, so which was perfect because Nick and I both take baths. And so it had like a ton of bubble bath salts, everything, which was great because we had a soccer game in the pouring down rain yesterday.
Oh yeah.
And I needed a warm bath to warm up because I was freezing. But then we also had our next court date on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Which went a lot quicker than
The
the
first
first one. We were both kind of bummed that mine got first because this time there was two.
We wanted the hot goss.
Yeah, so this time they had two scheduled at 3, and so mine ended up being first because it was going to be quick since again, they weren't able to serve her. She was able to avoid it. And so it was just like reissuing the temporary order, which I'm really passionate about right now. And we'll get to that in a minute. But
Yeah.
There was somebody else that was waiting via Zoom. And I was like, when we left, we were like, dang it, wish we would have gone second so that we could have heard that.
Because this lady like was on Zoom just listening the whole time.
And she was in her room, and then all of a sudden, when we
she
were
got
waiting,
in a car.
She was in a car, and I was like, "Is she driving right now while on Zoom in court?
Like these are recorded. What are you doing?"
But yeah, so again, she was able to avoid being served. So they tried again, police officers going to serve her, and then which again didn't answer. And then they tried email.
Yeah, they tried electronic service.
Yeah.
Via email and
I think Facebook. Yeah. I don't know how they verify. I think they have to get a response from her to verify.
So in all of my research last night, they have to verify that it was at least read. So like with the blue check marks and whatever.
Yeah.
So what probably happened is she saw who it was from and was like, nope, not going to read that.
Yeah. Again, avoided being served. And so then the next step was court again in another 2 weeks. So what is that? May 4th?
May 8th.
May 8th is the next court date. Yeah, May 4th. That's next Saturday.
I was going to say
I'm so tired.
That's Saturday.
Yeah, so May 8th. And then the next step of trying to serve her was via mail. So we had to have a third party send two ways of mail. So one could be just normal mail, and the other one had to be like certified mail with tracking.
Yep. With response requested or whatever,
yeah. Which so Jess went and did all of that on Friday. So I got a text message yesterday evening. Let me just pull it up.
I was gonna say, because if you're not familiar with return service requested, what will happen is that the USPS will notify the receiver that, because she has to sign for it essentially.
Yeah.
So USPS notified her that there was a package coming that she would have to sign for, and it gives an estimated date of delivery, which in this case would be Monday. It's supposed to get there on Monday. And so I'm guessing she got that notification, and that's what led to this.
No, they tried to deliver it because I checked the tracking.
Oh, really?
I checked the tracking this morning, and it says delivery failed.
Shit.
So they already tried to deliver it.
That was quick because they told me Monday.
That's just probably because of the weekend, but USPS runs over the weekend too.
Oh, damn.
And you paid for next day.
Yeah.
And you did it Friday morning.
That is true.
So they tried to deliver, because I checked the tracking. I saw the tracking on that receipt that you sent me, and it says delivery failed.
Okay, that makes sense. Because we sent it next day because she had to have received it. It was 5 days before the next court date, and so it was I wasn't fucking around. It was we're gonna make sure that it. We don't want to be the reason why the next court date gets extended. I'm doing this right.
Yeah.
So
I got a text message yesterday evening from a number I don't know. No idea whose number this is. And it says, Shelby, your mom wanted me to let you know she is not signing for any package from you. Said it's probably roadkill or something, but it won't be anything nice. So she's not going to accept it. If you want to give it to her, you know where she lives, but she hasn't bothered you. Sorry,
I still can't
my
believe
brain
that.
just cut out. But she hasn't bothered you, so please give the same respect. She says she knows that will be hard for you, but to try anyway. Which, like,
The audacity
yeah,
of this
like
bitch.
I almost 4 year October will be 4 years since I've made
Any.
any contact with her. Like,
Yeah,
the only contact that I've made with her beside in the last 4 years has been do not contact me.
right. And then for her to be like, she hasn't bothered you.
Bitch, you just sent me a 15-page
Right.
letter
Like you started this by
telling me that you're
sending.
going to come to my house.
Right. You threatened. Like,
Even the judge said there's an underlying threat saying that you're never safe.
right.
Like,
I have my ways.
right.
But she hasn't bothered
But
you.
she hasn't bothered me.
So, have
But
the
I'm
same
apparently
respect.
bothering her. So I had responded.
That and USPS would not let you fucking send roadkill in the mail.
Right.
Like, God forbid, lady.
Right.
Really?
It's not gonna be anything nice. Did you read the letter you sent me? There was not a single nice thing in there.
There was nothing nice in that letter.
So I had responded, said you're not to contact me for Carrie, that's my mother's name, as a third party, as there's a protection order in place. Do not contact me again. Well, then they contacted me again.
Yeah.
At 10:02 and said that was your mom, won't happen again. So now it's like, cool, this confirms not only did she deny the letter that has the papers in it, but also this was her contacting me, and I have an active protection order in place that's for her to not contact me.
Yeah.
So I called the police last night to file a police report. And this is where like my passion comes in, because I don't understand why I have a temporary. Yeah. What the fuck a temporary protection order does for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not protected. I'm not.
It's especially because the way that the judge set it up, like he made it sound like this was going to protect Shelby. He even made it an ex parte, which means that you don't have to notify the other party that this protection order is going into place. But then when you look into the like finer details, and like I literally read the entire Washington state law around restraining orders.
Oh yeah, we're
night.
calling her at like midnight, like because she has all it had to be a third party to send the letters.
Yeah,
and so I had to send all of my paperwork with her, and she had to make copies of all of it because we had the original temporary protection order, the reissue, and then like the whole court case stuff. So it's like she had to make copies of all of that because she had to send two separate.
But then you need 2 copies to present to the judge with the proof of service. So we only had 2 copies, so I had to make 2 more in order to like do all the stuff. So I had all the originals.
Yeah.
So last night when she was like,
because I was going to be picking them up today since I was going to be here.
Yeah, we didn't think that Carrie would try and do anything before then, but like,
silly us.
We were surprised by that. So yeah, so that's why we didn't get very much sleep, because I stayed up super late because I wanted to make sure that Shelby got everything that she needed for the police. I was like taking pictures. Like
I'm like, I need a picture of this now. Hey, she like had to email them, and I'm like, hey, they didn't get this page. Can you resend it?
I'm so mad about that. I literally attached pages 1, 2, and 4, and like 3 didn't make it on there. And then Nick's like, I need page 3. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck you mean you need page 3? I checked the email. Oh, okay, hold on. Trying to do this on my phone at night is just, ugh. Yeah. Thankfully, I was still awake.
We had to call William because she puts her phone on Do Not Disturb after a certain time.
Yeah.
So Nick was trying to call her, and it was going straight to voicemail. And so he just called William. He's like, hey, is Jess home? And Will's like, yeah, she's right here. And I just hear Nick say, yeah, I said that so that I could talk to her. Can you give her the phone? I obviously know that she's home, dumbass.
It's like William just like being fucking, he was so tired last night. He was like trying to stay up with me and support, but like kept dozing off.
Yeah.
Because I was awake. I leave my phone on like Do Not Disturb because should be sleeping.
Which like when I was pregnant, I was like, don't put your phone on Do Not Disturb in case I need. I would have to tell her because I know that she puts her phone on Do Not Disturb, because there's been, when our house got broken into, I couldn't get a hold of her. Yeah. And I had to call William because I was like, I need you right now. I'm so sorry. Crazy person was in my home.
Yeah. So my do not disturb works like a little too well.
Yeah.
I have since changed it so that, which now I'm realizing I should probably add Nick to that list, but Shelby is so if you had called me.
I was on the phone with the police on my phone.
Oh, that makes sense.
So that's why he had to call.
That makes sense because I have it set up so that
certain people
can get through. So like my mom and Shelby can break through the do not disturb. So maybe I'll add Nick.
Yeah, because I couldn't call because I was on the phone with the police.
Yeah, that makes sense now. So yeah, I had like done all of this to get back to our original point. We went on a tangent there. Yeah. But I went through the entire Washington state law, and even though it's an ex parte, that just means that he can set a court date without notifying the other party. The temporary restraining order, they can't do anything until the person is served. Like they have to be served in order for that to go into effect.
Which means I'm not protected.
Not protected whatsoever. The kids aren't protected.
Which is terrifying.
I feel like she has to know this because she is evading like every service and then keeps using third parties to get back in touch, and we can't do fucking anything about it until we get service. It's not really nice. It's annoying, but like we're looking at a means to an end. 10 days after I mailed the documents, regardless if she fucking refused them or not, she's considered served. So 10 days, but that's still
next Sunday.
Yeah, that's next Sunday.
Next Monday or whatever.
So we still have like a week and a half where she can do shit without consequences.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, all of it's documented. Like I called and filed a police report last night. So it's like I have a case number for that. So it's like, at least it's documented that she's like getting a hold of me, and I'll have Jess print out the screenshot of the text message that was sent to me to bring that to court on the 8th. But it's still just like annoying. And I was telling Jess last night, I was like, this is bullshit. Like, I don't like, how do you get immediately protected? If it doesn't go into effect until they've been served. Right. Like, it doesn't make sense. And I was getting so annoyed with the police officers last night because that's my thing. It's like, why do they have to be served for an emergency protection order? Like the judge recognized that myself and my children were in immediate danger. So why? And they're like, but she doesn't know about it. And I'm like, cool. So I literally said this, I was like, so if I broke the law but didn't know that was a law, I would still go to jail, wouldn't I? Even though I didn't know that was the law? Yep. How is this different? Yeah. It's so frustrating. So now I'm like terrified to go to work because she knows where I work. Nothing can happen if I call the police and she shows into the work because there's no protection order because she doesn't know. Right. And it's like, I get it. Like, if she doesn't know that there's a protection order in place, like, she doesn't know that she's not supposed to contact you. But, like, the point is, like, in my mind, you call the police and say, I'm being contacted. Send a police officer out there. Like, the police department has these papers, has tried to serve her. To do that. Yeah. So where I live, because when I called the non-emergent line to file a police report, they send me to, obviously, the police department where I live. Yes. I live on tribal land. So I got that police department and they're like, well, we can't go do anything because it's not a tribal matter. It's outside of their jurisdiction. So it's like they couldn't do anything. And they said that they could send Bellingham Police Department. But I was so like upset and frustrated. And I was like, I don't feel like you're helping me. I don't feel protected. I don't feel safe. I'm just going to call the Bellingham Police Department. Yeah. Because at this point, and they were frustrated with me at this point too. And we're talking hours. Yeah. And I could tell that they were frustrated with me because they were like getting short with me. They were getting, and when I was like, I'm just going to call the Bellingham Police Department, they're like, okay, good night. Like, have a good night. And like cut me off. And that was it. They like cleaned their hands of you and was like, yeah. So it's like, cool. So then I tried calling them. Well, there was a stabbing last night. Oh my God. They never called me back. I still haven't gotten a call from them. So it's like, I haven't talked to them at all. Well, it's a good thing she didn't fucking come to your house to assault you or anything. Well, that at that point would have been the tribal police. And they would have been able to come, but do something. But yeah, so, but from my understanding from what happened at court on Wednesday, the judge had said this is the final attempt to serve her.
Yes.
And as of the 8th, whether she's been served or not, we can move forward with the permanent protection order.
Yeah.
But my question is, does that permanent protection order, if he approves it, have to be served to her
in
for
order
it to
be
go valid?
Yeah. And that's where I was annoyed too, because
how does anybody get protected in that case?
Right. Well, and that's why I'm curious, and it sucks because they can't give you any legal advice.
Yeah.
But it's what I had read is like they can't be charged unless they know that they're violating the order. And so it's like, how do we get her to know that she has a fucking order? Because even with the postal one, it says she's considered served after 10 days of mailing, but if she never opens the paperwork, if she refuses the one with like the certified thing, does she know about the protection order? Like how?
But one doesn't have to be signed for.
Right.
So that's the 10 days of mailing one. Whether she's opened it or not, that should be considered served.
Yeah. So my thing is like, does that hold up in a court of law, or can she still sit there and play ignorance of, well, I had no idea that there was a protection order because I didn't actually look at the paperwork. And at that point, can we go, well, you had your fucking chance. You've had the letter for, 2 weeks at this point. You should have read it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's how they get around it.
I don't know.
It's nerve-wracking.
All just like a headache and a pain in the ass. And that's what I told the police. I told them multiple times because I knew that I was getting bitchy.
Yeah.
And I said,
understandably so.
And I told them, I was like, I'm sorry that I'm getting frustrated. I'm sorry that I'm like not having a great tone and like the way that I'm speaking to you. But you have to understand that I thought I was protected, and you're now telling me that I'm not protected and that I'm not safe and that my children are not protected and that my children are not safe. And I was like, so my anxiety is rising. I was like, you have no idea how much time I've put into this.
Yeah.
Like, this is now costing me money. Like, because like my husband has to miss work so that I can go to this court, or we have to find babysit. Like,
yeah,
this is impacting my life and I want it to just be done with. And now I was under the impression I was protected, and now you're telling me that I'm not. And that's
so it's like,
terrifying.
why are you putting in all of this time and effort and money when it's like you're still suffering as much as you were before?
Right. And I had told them too, and I was like, she's denying the certified letter, which has the papers in there. So like, that's not, I'm doing everything that I can. And they're like, right, but she still doesn't know because she technically hasn't been served. And I was like, so how do you serve somebody that
and I'm guessing
is avoiding the shit out of it?
Well, and it's like the final step is publication. And it's like, I read,
and that takes 30 days.
30 days.
And a temporary protection order is for 14 days.
Yeah. And essentially all that is they put a fucking like legal ad in the newspaper.
Yeah.
And hope that she reads it. It's insane.
Yeah. Didn't get enough sleep last night, which like I don't get enough sleep during the week because I work. So I'm frustrated because it's like I worked Friday night to there was an event at my work. So I went in and worked for 4 hours until 1 a.m, which is like still not as late as I normally work, but it's still 1 a.m. And then I had to get up at 7 the next morning, Saturday morning. So I guess that morning.
Yeah.
To coach soccer. And so it's like last night was my only night to actually get some sleep.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to do that because I was dealing with this all night. And
yeah, because I went to bed around, like I ended up finally falling asleep around like 2 a.m. this morning.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine, like this would have been your day to try and like catch up on some sleep.
Right. And that's the hard thing about like with my shift that I work. It's like Nick will let me nap and that's great. But then it's like I'm sleeping my entire days and then I'm going to work. And so it's like I'm not spending time with my kids. I'm not spending time with Nick. I'm not doing anything for myself that I want to do. Like I'm not reading my books.
Yeah.
I'm just not doing anything.
You're not getting any self-care or relaxation to like rest.
And so like Thursday, Nick didn't work Thursday, Friday. The girls had therapy. They're in occupational therapy.
Mm-hmm.
They had therapy at 9 a.m. So I got up, did that, and as soon as their therapist left, I went to bed. Their therapy session is an hour, so they were out by 10.
Yeah.
I immediately went to bed to take a nap and woke up at 3.
Jesus.
And like Nick left with all of the kids and tried to
Mm-hmm.
tell me, and I have no recollection of that
Yeah.
happening.
You were gone to the
I was
world.
so tired. And then same thing Friday. It's like I slept.
Yeah.
I took a nap after we toured that daycare. And then by the time I woke up, it was like, cool, I have to get ready to go do the school dance. And then immediately after the dance, had to go to work.
Yeah.
And then Saturday was soccer. And then I was so cold, had to take a bath. But then I was so tired in the bath. I was falling asleep reading my book that I had to like have Nick come help me get out of the bathtub.
Yeah.
And then I took a nap. But again, it's like I just feel like I'm sleeping my entire days away. So it's like I wanted to be able to sleep last night so I could maybe not sleep all day today.
Yeah. And like spend some time
And
with the
spend some time
kiddos.
with the kids.
Yeah.
Like I have a book that I only have 80 pages left, so I want to finish that
you're
book.
so close.
Yeah, I'm so close. So I want to finish that book.
Yeah, because you're also getting on like a time crunch of when you need to read that other book.
Right. Yeah. So it's like that's terrifying because if she comes to my work, like
they don't have
there's
your back.
Literally nothing that I can do except go home, which at my job,
if you
there's
go
a
home.
point system.
Mm-hmm.
So, and once you reach 7 points, you're like getting fired.
So she could cost you your job.
So she could cost me my job if she keeps coming to my work, because if you leave early, that's half a point.
Yeah.
And I already have I only have 1 point now, but if you call out, it's a point, like no matter the circumstances, which is what's so annoying about this job is that everybody's coming to work sick because they are terrified to get a point.
So you're guaranteed to get fucking sick.
So there's like this constant sickness that's going around because nobody will call out because they don't want to get a point.
Yep.
If you clock in even a minute late, you get a half a point. So like when Nick hurt his ankle, I called out 2 nights because he was on crutches. He couldn't carry the babies.
Yep.
So I got 2 points. And so the only way to get points off is if you work. So if you work for 4 hours outside of your shift, then you get 1 point off. So I worked 4 hours Friday night to help out at the event, but also to take a point off. So now I only have 1 point.
Yeah.
But it's like she could cost me my job at this point.
If she keeps
if she comes in and continues to come in, because again, at my job, there's nothing that I can do.
Yeah.
It's on tribal land. The tribal police don't have the paperwork.
Yeah.
They can't come and serve her. Since she doesn't know about the order, I can't call the police and have them come arrest her. My job won't do anything.
Yeah. It's so
they've literally told me that like, oh, well, if she comes in, like you can we can move the section that you're in if she's in your section. Cool. Well, she's just going to come to my section.
Yeah,
like,
she's just going to follow you around. This protection
order is literally for harassment and stalking.
Yeah.
Like
that's what she's
going to do. And they're like, or like you can also like come hide in the offices.
You're supposed to just do that until she leaves?
Sit back there until she leaves? Or like, no.
Yeah.
You want me to sit in an office, anxiety ridden, in tears,
until she leaves? That's not a solution.
No. I'm just going to go home where I feel safe.
Yeah. Because at least there, like, you have, I mean, I know that your job has cameras too, but like you have access to the cameras at your home.
I have access to the cameras and it's my home. So at that point we can get her trespassed if she shows up.
Yep.
And Nick has a gun. So there's that too. Have a lot of anxiety about going into work, which like doesn't help because Nick already wants me to quit my job because I'm always tired. He doesn't like going to bed without me there. And I'm like struggling not being able to say goodnight to the kids. Like I'm just not used to not being there at bedtime and saying goodnight to them. And ever since the girls were born, Baker has really bad separation anxiety with me. So when I leave, he usually has like a tantrum.
Yeah.
And it's usually a fight. So he's been getting better, but it's still just hard. And I also just like, I just, like we've talked about before, I want something more fulfilling. So I'm just not happy there anyways. And so
Mm-hmm.
Nick would rather me be happy and just be home than me go to this job, especially now that I'm
Yeah.
scared and anxious to go to, with now knowing that I'm not protected.
Yeah.
So that's not helpful when I have him in my ear saying, just call out, just quit.
Yeah, just quit. I mean,
Um,
the good thing is though is that you found a really great daycare for the kids
yeah.
that's like very reasonably priced. Like for this state, fucking
Yeah.
phenomenal price.
It's still more than my rent with all my children.
Yes, that is
But we
true.
we would qualify for state assistance. So
Yeah,
that's on my to-do list tomorrow, is to
apply for that
apply for that.
because then you could
And
get a job during the day.
then I can get a job during the day. They're not opening until June, but she did tell me, she sent me over all of the paperwork on Friday. She did say that like if she gets approved to open a little bit earlier, she'll let me know,
Mm-hmm.
so that she can start watching them earlier. So we'll see. I'm gonna start applying for day. I'm like nervous to start applying too soon for during the day
Right.
jobs, just because of the fact of like,
Yeah.
I don't want to like get a job before I have daycare available.
Yeah.
At the same time,
You can.
luckily Nick is in a position where he works for his parents. So
Oh, so he
he
could always.
could stay home for a
Yeah.
month if we needed him to. The other option that I've been thinking of that I should do today is, I never took family bonding leave with the girls
Mm.
because I had already taken the allotted amount of time with Lincoln. Since they were born so close together, you only get like, it's like 16 weeks of
Yeah.
FMLA in a year,
Regardless of how many kids you
regardless
have.
of how many kids you have in a year.
So all those
3.
Irish twins and triplets.
Yeah. Sorry about it. But the nice thing is you can use your family bonding FMLA within a year of them being born. So we're
Mm-hmm.
out. It's been over a year since I've used FMLA, family bonding leave, for Lincoln.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I can now maybe use it for the girls. So the only hard thing about that is it takes like 4 to 6 weeks to get approved for it. So I could
Yeah.
apply for it today and make it effective today and tell my work like
Deuces.
deuces. But if it gets denied, I have 4 weeks where I'm not getting any back payment from.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like in an unknown. So that's the only
It's hard.
hard thing about it.
The other thing is
So
too is that when you apply for jobs, like you can always just be transparent and letting them know like what your start date could be.
yeah,
Because you can
I
always
just
like,
worry about it impacting me getting the job.
yeah, I could see
Because if they
that.
have another candidate that can start sooner, which they might need, then
Yeah, they're more likely
they're
to
more likely
go.
to go with that candidate.
Yeah,
So
that makes
that's the
sense.
only thing. So we'll figure it out. Yeah, this is just part of the hard thing about working in a public place, is
Mm-hmm.
this person knowing,
Where?
like finding out where I work. I think other places she'd never find, like there'd be no
Mm-mm.
way for her to find out, or
Yeah.
it would just be like a she has no reason to go there type thing. Whereas like this place, I knew going into it that she goes there, but she normally will go during the day
Yeah.
and during non-busy hours so that she's not around a bunch of people. But I don't know. I'm just like
Yeah.
anxious.
We'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah. So that's been my week
Yeah.
and our last 12 hours.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's been pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm like getting ready to go back to full-time work, which
Mm-hmm.
is very crazy. I'm excited about it. I did get new ADHD medication. I know I talked about that briefly last week, but I was able to talk to a psychiatrist, get prescribed some medication, and some other, like, there's some other health things that I need to do. But I am taking a stimulant, and fucking hot damn. Like, I now understand why doctors are so like wary about stimulants and making sure that like you seriously understand what you're getting into, because it's insane the difference of me on Vyvanse versus not on Vyvanse. Like the first day I took it, and I'm like getting used to it, but it's like the first day I took it, my body literally felt like I was buzzing. It was,
I know. Yeah, she messaged me. She goes, "I am buzzing on these new meds."
yeah, like it's wild, but it's life changing in terms of the brain fog is gone. There's like not as much fatigue. The like task initiation stuff that I struggle with, like not there. Executive dysfunction, who dat? Like it's so fucking bizarre, and like you neurotypical people who get to just like live like this every day
Without the meds.
without the meds, like I'm very jealous because it's like is this what it's supposed to be like? Like like this is how crazy this is I folded laundry yesterday without having to do any sort of like habit stacking or like task bundling. I folded laundry without music or background noise or a show, nothing. I just grabbed the basket, folded it, and put it away.
Wow.
Isn't that fucking insane?
Yeah.
I
Good
could
job.
never. I literally have to like hype myself up, break it out into steps, turn on a show so that I can like still kind of be entertained. And even then, I'm like procrastinating it and it takes like way longer. No, I grabbed the basket, it needed to get done, got folded, put away, started a new load of laundry. I'm like, and I like stopped and I was like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah, she sent me a Marco and was like,
I accomplished so much.
Off everything that she got done. She goes, and it's not even 2 or whatever time it was.
Yeah, it was 11 a.m.
Yeah.
And I had like accomplished so much. And normally, like those things would have been something that would have taken me like 3 days to accomplish. Wild. So yeah, I'm very stoked about the new meds. The only thing that sucks is that I have to reduce my caffeine.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, because
Okay.
apparently it's like very, very common for people with ADHD to self-medicate with caffeine because caffeine doesn't affect like, and I'm sure people with ADHD out there understand, like caffeine doesn't do shit for me. Like I could drink a hot cup of espresso right before bed and pass out no problem. But it's because I've been self-medicating with caffeine to try and keep myself energized.
So maybe you should also switch to hot cocoa for these
yeah, I probably should, because she asked me, she's like, how many cups of coffee do you drink a day? And I was like,
she's like, I only drink coffee
literally all day. Like I will drink
all I drink
anywhere from like 6 to 8 cups plus like an espresso from Starbucks. Like it's real bad. She's like, yeah, you're probably going to want to like cut that down significantly because on the stimulant plus caffeine, if you maintain your current caffeine intake, you're looking at heart palpitations, anxiety, sweats, like just like not great stuff. And I was like, okay. She's like, you could get to like a state of like paranoia because like your heart's racing so much so constantly. And I was like, cool. Dope. So I have been cutting myself down to 2 or 3 cups of coffee. The caffeine headaches have been fucking gnarly. I literally feel like I'm in withdrawals with the caffeine, but I'll take it for the fact that I'm able to actually like accomplish
things,
day-to-day shit, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Like I've had this passport paperwork since I got married in July of 2022. Okay? It's a form to get my name legally changed on my passport. And I just filled out the form on, what was that, yesterday?
Yeah.
After taking my meds. And it took me all of like 5 fucking minutes. Like I've been procrastinating this task for literally a year and a half, almost 2 years, for it to just take me 5 minutes to fill out the fucking form. And now I'm like, now I have to get it expedited because we're traveling outside of the country in September. So I like don't want to risk it like not getting here in time. So the ADHD tax, I'm having to pay an extra $60. So it's $190 for me to get my fucking passport renewed because I need to
Ew.
pay the extra $60 to have it expedited.
Ew.
Yeah. So that was annoying. Oh, and I have to pay that twice because I also have to get Will's done because his expired in February.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm paying almost $400 fucking dollars for passports. Yeah. It's not good. But they last for 10 years. So
I've never had a passport, so.
I know. I've tried to get you to get one.
Yeah, but
many
you
times.
tried to get me to go to fucking what, Thailand when I was pregnant with the twins.
Oh yeah, that is true. Not my brightest moment. I really want to go to Thailand though.
And she really wanted me to go with her. And the guys really did not want us to go.
No. Which, like, mind you,
and then I got really pregnant with twins.
I did do research after both the boys were like, fuck no. And it's one of the least safest countries for solo women travelers. So if you're gonna go to Thailand, bring a male friend. Yeah. There are other countries that are much safer for female travelers. So we just need to like go on like a Europe trip. Just go trekking around Europe. That would be amazing.
We have different ideas of like a relaxing vacation.
I'm also really into like nerdy historical buildings and architecture and history and things like that.
Whereas like I want sunshine and a beach and to just relax.
Yeah.
Like I do want to go to Europe. It is on like,
but that's not like your idea of like a relaxing vacation.
Right. And I think that like that's at my forefront of my brain because like I need a relaxing vacation. I'd love to go to Europe and I'd love to like, you know, go visit the historical buildings and go do all of that. Like that's always been something that I've wanted to do. It's just not what I want my next adult trip to be.
Yeah, that's true. We need like an all-inclusive resort in like Mexico or something.
Or like Bali. They have some good ones.
Yeah. The Maldives. I've been seeing a lot about like the like tropical islands and stuff.
Maldives.
Is it the Maldives? I thought it was Maldives.
I think it's Maldives.
Maldives? I don't know. Google it. I just assumed it was dives because it's Dives.
Maldives.
Dives nuts.
Oh my god.
Maldives.
Yeah, Maldives.
Okay.
But yes, or
I have been corrected.
Greece would be fun too.
Ooh, see, I could get down with some Greece. Delete.
Yeah, so I think that that's why like that doesn't sound good because I need like I really want like a sunshiny, beachy, relaxing vacation.
And I feel like our next vacation that we need to do because we've been talking about it so many times is we still need to just go to Las Vegas for a weekend or something.
I've been, so
I know you,
but I haven't gotten to have fun drinks, so I do.
Yeah, and I've never been to Vegas.
She's never been. Yeah,
so I'd be fucking gawking all over the place. I'm just like,
especially because I just like popped her gambling cherry last week.
Yes. Oh my god. My husband does not enjoy, so he enjoys gambling, but he's definitely more of like card player. Like he likes playing poker and blackjack and those kinds of things. So like slot machines are not really his thing. So we've never gone gambling. And I used to work at a casino, and it was one of those things where you cannot gamble at the casino that you work at, and all other casinos are like an hour away. So I've never ventured out. And it's not that I've never like gambled before. Like Nick and I, when we were 19, we would go up to Canada and we would gamble up there. But like that was like the last time that I played slots. So we're talking like a long ass time ago.
He's kind of a sore loser. So.
He really is a sore loser. But yeah, so it's been a long ass, like a decade since I've gone gambling.
Yeah, so after we recorded last week, I was like, want to go on an adventure?
She was so proud of me for doing my homework that she was like, we should go hang out.
Yeah. And it was funny because I was like, you want to go on an adventure and get drinks? And so she like asked William, she's like, can I go get drinks with Shelby? And he's like, well, where are you going? And they both looked at me and I was like, an undisclosed location. But then she ended up winning, and he was like, Shelby should take you to undisclosed locations for drinks more often.
Yeah. He put a lot of trust into you because we did not tell him where we were going at all.
No.
I never I don't think I told him until like after we left.
I think we were there and you had like one, and you're like, oh, I better tell him where I'm at now.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I walked out $100 richer than when I came in. So
yeah, so
that's pretty cool.
She's like, I think you just unlocked a new.
It was pretty fun, and it's like I get that it could be like pretty dangerous and that it's not as fun when you're like losing, but it's like the like mini games and stuff that
the
like
bonuses.
the bonuses and stuff, like they're still pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Regardless if like you don't win. So just, gamble smart. Don't gamble money you don't have.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, I don't have money to go to Vegas right now, but
no,
eventually maybe.
I mean, I won't either for a hot minute. So it's like the awkward like timing of how everything worked out. Like my severance has already ended and I'm starting in a new pay period. So I'm actually
2 weeks before you get.
Yeah, so I'll be missing one check before I get paid again. And so it's like this month I'm like, oh.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm trying to like not listen to Nick when he's like, just quit, don't go to work. I'm like, we need for me to go to work. Though.
Your finances are like, stay at your
Like,
job.
we have so many bills.
Yeah.
And like the girl, like, and that's the thing right now too. Like the kids like need stuff right now.
Yeah.
So football signups are going to be in a couple weeks. Jesse decided he didn't want to do Rangers because he wants to do football.
Oh.
So we're not doing Rangers tryouts, but like football, that's like a couple $100 just to sign up, and I have to sign him up the day registration opens
because it fills up
the same day.
Yeah,
which is why he didn't do it this last year because it all filled up.
Well, and then you'd have to get him like new equipment and stuff.
Oh, and that's the thing. So it's like he's gonna need cleats, like, and like he did get a Dick's gift card for his birthday, but I feel bad making him use his like birthday money to get
sports equipment and stuff. Yeah.
So it's like that's coming up, and then like the girls need stuff like because they're getting bigger.
Yeah.
I really want to get them like not the door like jumperoo things, but like the ones that actually have where you can take it anywhere. Where they can like jump. The Jolly Jumper or whatever it's called.
Oh.
Yeah. Normally this you can buy this to just go in like a door frame.
Yeah, but it has like a stand by itself.
But this is a stand by itself.
Oh, okay,
so
that's
that
pretty
like
cool.
I can have it in the living room, but then when it's nice outside, I can take it outside. But like I have 2 babies, so I need 2 of them.
Yeah, it gets expensive when you have to buy everything double.
Right. But I want to get them because I see a lot of like sensory videos for them, and especially when it's hot outside, you can put like a tub of water under their feet, so they're like jumping in the water and like being able to cool off and have fun and whatever. So it's like I really want to get a couple of those for the girls, and then I also want to get them the walkers, which like Parker's not quite ready for it, but Cora is. Like Cora will stand and put weight on, so it's like I feel like she could.
You're getting to the like expensive stage of babies when
right,
they like.
And I need 2 of everything. That and they're growing out of their bassinet, so it's like we're trying to figure out: do we want to get 1 crib and have them share? Or do we want to get 2 mini cribs? But the thing with the mini cribs is they're just going to grow out of those quickly too.
So you'll have to buy.
So it's just like, I don't know, because we don't have space for 2 cribs.
Yeah, because then you're also growing into like the high chairs and
which we have a high chair at my in-laws, and Nick's cousin's wife has a high chair that she's going to give to us.
Oh,
so it's like we're good there, at least for right now. But it's everything else. So they are in our room. So
yeah,
I already had to sacrifice my vanity to just have them in our room. And there's not really anything else in our room to sacrifice. Like I've already moved our dresser into our closet. Like our closet is super crammed now. Like we have a good big size closet, but we have a utility shelf in there for like storage. We have a mini fridge in there and on top of that is Nick's 3D printer. And then we also have our dresser in there. And that's all just on one side of the closet. And the other side is like where all of our clothes hang up.
Yeah.
And so there's no more room to put anything else in there. And then we have our bed, Nick's gun safe, we have the girls' dresser, and then we have a desk in our room, which I guess we could get rid of the desk, but it's been
Mm-hmm.
really convenient for like Nick to have a spot to do his schoolwork at.
Right.
And if I do happen to be able to find like a work from home job, it'd be nice to have
Mm-hmm.
that desk
Or if you like
too.
go to school, having
Or
a
if I end up
place to
going to
do
school, right?
homework.
Like
Yeah.
if I end up going back to school, like I've been talking about, then I'll have a spot to like sit and do my homework.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just like there's just a lot of things that like we're needing, and but also like we have so many bills to pay. Like we have 2 car payments,
Yeah.
we had to do a lot of like after pays and like a firm for like Christmas. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like we still have all those payments, and then like our car insurance and phone bills and our rent, like
Yeah.
there, and credit cards. Like there's just so much. I'm like stressed in multiple different ways right now, like money and like not wanting to go to work because I'm terrified of my mother showing up.
Yeah. It's not a great combination,
Yeah,
that's
it's
for
not a great
sure.
time that I'm having at the moment.
No.
Yeah, so that's my life right now.
So yeah, so circling back to Maternal Mental Health Awareness Month, that is for the entire month of May, and it is specifically geared towards maternal mental health. Because I think when a lot of people think about new moms and things like that, a lot of the stigma that I see is like, well, you signed up for this, deal with it. And I really hate that. Like, I really fucking hate that. Because
Yeah.
nobody fucking, whenever like people tell you, like,
Nobody signs up for depression.
fuck, seriously, nobody wants it. And everybody tells you, like, oh, just wait. Like, it's the greatest years of your life. And they tell you, like, all the great things about having kids. Nobody talks about the super shitty parts.
Except for you're not going to get any sleep. That's like
Right.
the only, that's like, oh, we'll say goodbye to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Say goodbye to sleep and
And
say
freedom.
goodbye to freedom and say goodbye to your looks.
Yeah.
Like that's it. They
Yeah.
do not talk about how difficult it is, how alone you feel. The postpartum depression fucking hits different. I had postpartum depression with Carly. With Caden, I actually had postpartum anxiety. And that I didn't even know that that was a fucking thing, but that to me was worse than postpartum depression
Mm-hmm.
because with postpartum anxiety, it was specifically geared around Caden and his health and safety. And part of that
Pyloric stenosis.
was because of his pyloric stenosis. We were like in and out of hospitals for weeks trying to get a diagnosis. Nobody was fucking taking us
Because
seriously.
our hospital sucks.
Our hospital fucking sucks ass. Yeah, we ended up
Which is
having
why I gave birth in a roundabout.
for real. So he ended up having surgery at 6 weeks old. But it's like the anxiety, like you had so many intrusive thoughts that would just make your anxiety worse. Like I would have these like horrible, vivid visions of Caden like running and tripping into the corner of the coffee table or the corner of our bed frame and like cracking his skull open. And I know that that's like very drastic, but like that's postpartum anxiety. Like
Yeah.
that's what would happen. And I would give myself these panic attacks and I would be a fucking helicopter mom because I didn't want to see these visions come to life.
And it was like
It was so bad.
it was like our parenting is normally so similar, but after we had the boy, and like it was after we had the boys that we got closer, but it was like the older that they got, I could see the differences where it's like Baker's very all over the place. There's no controlling him, there's no containing him. And it's like we got to a point where it was like if he gets hurt, he gets hurt.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it is. Like they would come to my house, and William's still kind of a helicopter parent. But it was like they would just be like bumpers around Caden.
Yeah.
Or I'd come here and they'd never could sit down. They were constantly like, and I'm like, y'all, he's a kid. He's going to fall. He's going to get hurt. He's he's not as adventurous as Baker. He also is a lot bigger than Baker, so it was harder for him to like do the things that Baker does, right?
He also does fall a lot harder though because of that. Like, he is a dense boy.
He is, but it's like you have to let him fall.
Yeah.
You have to let him get hurt.
Which I've come worlds.
Oh, she's like, well, yeah, you fucked up. That sucks.
Yeah, like fucking figure it out, bro. That sucked. But it's like, in order to get there, like, I had to recognize that I had a problem. And it's hard because it's like trying to seek therapy. Like, you have to make that decision for yourself because you have to do the work to get better. Like, therapy is not fucking easy. But so I ended up taking myself to therapy specifically for my anxiety. I do take Lexapro. I take Lexapro daily, and I've been doing that for almost a year now, but it helps significantly. And it's gotten to the point where I did a lot of really good behavioral cognitive work of trying to identify where these like root issues come from. I have a lot more tools in my tool belt of how to like regulate myself. And it was like, I was doing such like, I was catastrophizing. Like, something would happen and I would literally go to like the worst case fucking scenario. And my therapist was really good about like, let's think about this logically. If this were to happen, what would be the steps that you would take? Like, take yourself out of the situation, bring all of your emotions out of it. If your son busted his head open, what would you do? Well, you call the 911, an ambulance comes, or you take him to the ER, they stitch him up, he's fine. I like literally watched this happen with my brother. So, because my brother's cracked open his head like fucking.
So did my little brother too.
Yeah, 4 times.
To the ER.
And then my therapist was like, cool, so he's fine. Nothing's wrong. You like, so why are we catastrophizing and thinking that he's going to die? All of these terrible, perilous deaths. And it took that to be like, why am I like wishing this demise on my fucking son? Like, why is my brain doing this to me?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I highly, highly, highly recommend, like, if you have postpartum anxiety or postpartum depression, I know it's really hard to find like a really good therapist, but like I've tried like 3 or 4 therapists over the years, and I found one that I really love, I really resonate with. I actually look forward to my sessions with her every week now. And shout out
until her world gets rocked.
Yeah, there have been some where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need to take a nap now because I'm traumatized. Because a lot of what, like, my stuff does stem from childhood trauma. And so a lot of this work, like I said, it's not easy. Like, I'm having to dig into these past experiences to figure out and identify why I do the shit that I do. So yeah, those sessions are fucking rough. And I'm like emotionally spent for the rest of the day. And I'm like, cool, I'm not doing fucking anything else.
And I'm just out here raw dogging life.
Raw dogging life. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, shout out to the Lexapro though. Like, that's helping a lot.
And it's funny because I was looking at my Facebook memories this morning, and 2 years ago today I made a post like about my mental health and just about like depression in general. And in it, I said, like, a lot of people will tell you, like, just go get a therapist. That's such a daunting task for me.
It's so daunting.
Because, like, I get really discouraged very easily, which is, like, part of the struggle I'm having with like, going to work tonight is, like, I'm very discouraged to go to work because I'm discouraged about, like, not actually being protected from my mom. So I'm, like, I'm scared. I have a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
And like, I might joke about it, but like, I'm absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
But like, I get very discouraged very easily. It's why I didn't graduate high school. You know, it's like why a lot of tasks for me don't get done, or like why I put things off and procrastinate, because I'm very like, it's daunting. So like, getting a therapist sounds really easy, but for some people, but it's not, especially because it's like, I'm on state insurance. So finding a therapist that's going to take my insurance,
that has open availability, that is trained in what you are trying to treat,
right?
Because that's the other thing.
But then like, also,
do you vibe with them?
Right. In my head, I'm like, well, when am I even going to have time to do this?
Right. Yeah.
Because like, I always have my kids, or at night I'm at work, or I'm coaching soccer, or like there's always something else because
Yeah.
there's
I've
just always
been
something else.
I've been really fortunate because I only have one kid at home because Carly's usually at school for my appointments. And so I can usually manage having like Kaden in the background. And my therapist is really, really understanding of hold on, I gotta put the phone down really quick. Cause I do mine via telehealth for that exact reason. Cause like where the fuck am I gonna put my kid? But like I'll have to put the phone down and get Kaden an orange. And my therapist is like really understanding of that.
Whereas like I don't have kids that leave me
No.
alone.
No.
Baker's very attached to me.
Yeah.
From the moment he wakes up and gets out of bed, it's
Mm-hmm.
mommy, mommy, mommy. And even like
Yeah.
Nick tried to do something last night or this morning, and Baker was like, nope, I want my mommy. And Nick was trying to have him give me some space and let me have some time to myself. Yeah. And Baker was like, I want my mommy. Like, he's very attached to me, and he's very overwhelming with that attachment, and it's very draining. And like I feel bad because he's not always going to be attached to me, he's not always going to want me.
Yeah.
But he's just very like quite literally in your face. Where like that drains me really quickly is I get like very sensory overload, like,
oh yeah,
get out of my face. I don't like things or people or anything in my face. And so it's like I wouldn't get that because he'd constantly be trying to talk to me, or he need help,
yeah.
or he's trying to have a WWE match with Lincoln, or like something.
Or
And
the
then there's the
twins would
twins.
go off.
So
Yeah.
there's always like I have too many children, and like
You wouldn't be able to swing that.
right.
And it sucks because it's like, even for me with the situation that I have, like it took me 3 years to get to this point and to find this therapist. Like, and I know that I'm really, really fortunate and privileged to be able to get to this point.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy.
Yeah.
To
So
get.
it's like even when I start to think that I'm gonna go look, I talk myself out of it because I'm like, I'm never gonna have time.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be more stressful than beneficial at this point. Like,
And that's why it's so important to talk about Maternal Mental Health Month for the month of May and bring awareness to it, because I don't think a lot of people like really realize like how serious maternal mental health is and how much we like live in the shadows of it, because it's so fucking daunting to find therapy or find any sort of resources, honestly, because we have all of these obstacles in place. Like it shouldn't take 3 years to find a therapist, or it shouldn't be so daunting to even start the process to get the care that you need. It's absurd how difficult it is to get mental health resources in general, but for maternal specifically, it's fucking impossible.
yeah. I had a different experience with like postpartum. I just already have depression and anxiety, so I already like I overthink every situation. I overthink and like overanalyze everything that I say. Like I said, there's lots of times where I'll have a conversation with Jess where I'm typing something out to her and I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that because I don't want her to like misinterpret what I'm trying to say, or like I just overthink everything.
Yeah.
And I worry
Which
about
is
everything.
funny because like I've literally never had a thing where I'm like, oh, this bitch said this.
Yeah. So like I already like deal with like depression, anxiety, all that stuff. It just like heightens, I guess, after I have a baby. I'd say like the worst ones for me were after Jesse was really, really, really bad. And then after I lost Allie, that was really bad.
Yeah.
And then after the girls was pretty bad. Not as bad though as I was anticipating, I will say, given the situation that I was in. But like with Jesse, I was in a very, very toxic relationship where I was getting no help from his sperm donor. I was 20 years old. I was very young.
Yeah.
I was stressed about money, obviously, because I had this baby that I was taking care of by myself. I'm also just like like my love language is giving people what they want. So like it's really hard for me, and like this is a really big struggle between Nick and I, is like he'll say that he wants something, and I have a very hard time with it because I get the impulsive reaction to like immediately get him the item
Yeah.
that he's wanting.
That's your like attachment style. Like you
Yeah.
build relationships and attachments based off of like what you can give and receive from
Yeah.
each other.
And it's not even like what I can receive. I just like have this need to like give to
Mhm.
give. And so like anytime my sperm donor would be like, well, I need X amount of money for X, Y, and Z, it was like
Mhm.
my initial reaction. But then I would do it, but I would be upset about it because it's like, cool, I need this money to like get diapers for our child or
Right.
get formula or like whatever it was, to where it was like now I'm needing to like go ask my dad for money or
Yeah.
see if I can work extra shifts. And I worked at freaking Dairy Queen at the time. Like I made $10 an hour. Like, so I was just like in a very bad spot to where like I had texted my dad and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Mhm.
I don't want to be alive anymore. You need to come get Jesse. Like I'll have him in his car seat ready for you.
Yeah.
And I like put Jesse in his car seat and I put him out in my living room, and I went into my bedroom, into my closet, and I had a shoelace and was trying to get out of here. Like
Yeah.
I was done. Jesse was only a couple of months old, and my dad came in and he found me, and he like took took us in his hearse.
Yeah.
That was when I was like begging him to go to like to the hospital, and he was like, no, because like Jesse's gonna be taken from you.
Mhm.
And it was just really bad. And then I
And that's like what bothers me about it is that it's like you're trying to seek help, but you get punished for it.
yeah,
And it's like, but you weren't a bad mom. So
yeah,
like why would the fucking state come in and take your kid? And it's like very real. Happens all the time, but it's like we can't, especially back then, like I know I was in a very similar situation. They did not talk about postpartum depression. Like the hospitals were like fucking in and out. Like they could not wait to fucking boot you out the door.
mm.
And they did not talk to you about like what you could be experiencing or what resources you could use. Like that just wasn't.
Until like your 6 week appointment when they give you the postpartum depression
Yes.
questionnaire.
And it's like 6 weeks later, baby, it's a little too
Well,
late. Like
yeah,
I've been fucking drowning in the
yeah,
ditches for the last 6 weeks. Like,
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it was really bad after I had Jesse, and like I same thing where it was like I was young, none of my friends had kids, so it was
mm-hmm.
like I was the only one. I couldn't go do everything that everybody else was doing,
Yeah. You're
because
so isolated.
yeah, because I had to be home with my baby, and then like
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to leave him unless it was to go to work, so I had a very hard time like letting a babysitter come in so that I could go do something. I think the first time I did that was my 21st birthday.
Yeah.
And I literally, with his sperm donor, went to Applebee's
Yeah.
and like had one drink and then like rushed home because I needed to be with him. Like
Mm-hmm.
it, I was just not good. And like, of course, my situation did not help. Like my circumstances
Yeah.
like heightened everything, but it still was just like it was not great. And I knew that going into like having Baker, but I still didn't like advocate for myself of like, hey, I struggle with this. Like this is I'm
Yeah.
worried about how this is gonna look.
It's so intimidating to advocate for yourself in a healthcare setting because like healthcare is not built for women. Like doctors are so dismissive and
Not They have no empathy most of the time.
not
There
at
are some
all.
doctors that I will say there are some doctors that yes, they do.
Yeah, yeah.
I had amazing doctors at Swedish.
But it's like in the for profit, I should say, like the for profit hospitals, which is like what we have up here in our immediate area. And it's like the type of care that we get up here versus the care that we've been able to get down in Seattle. Fucking night and day difference
Yeah.
in terms of the level of care and empathy of like what we could get doctors just like do not take you seriously up here when it comes to those kind of things. Because I think
They
you
don't take you
did,
seriously when you tell them you're in labor.
yeah,
So.
right. But it's like with the twins, like I was really proud of like how you advocated for yourself this time around. Like you were very proactive in letting them know, like, I have a history of postpartum depression. I'm already having depressive thoughts, and I know that it's going to get worse after the girls are here, especially with the circumstances of them being in the NICU and being separated from your family. Like you did an incredible job of advocating for yourself this time around. That like, and I think it was like different hospital too, but like you
When
were
I was
able
already
to
on,
get,
well, I was already on my meds.
yeah,
And so like the hospital didn't touch my my meds as far as like prescribing me more antidepressants. They just
mm-hmm,
handled like the postpartum like pain
yeah,
stuff. I will say that I had like different team of doctors
mm-hmm,
in Bellingham for my pregnancy with the twins because I was high risk.
yeah,
Just because of my past pregnancies, I was high risk, and then they were twins, so it's
yeah,
like that's automatically a high
naturally,
risk
yeah,
pregnancy. And one of the RNs that worked there was amazing, and she
mm-hmm,
like called and checked in on me. I had already had like proactively reached out to them about my antidepressants that I was on because they are who prescribed it to me in the first place.
yeah,
And so she talked to my team of doctors and they all agreed to like double my dosage because of the circumstances that I was in and the struggles that I've had with postpartum in the past. So
yeah,
I just upped my dosage, like nothing really changed. It just got doubled. So yeah, it wasn't, I still struggled obviously because I was like away from
I
my
mean, it
family
was
and
a very
I was
traumatic
isolated in
experience,
a
yeah,
hotel room by myself, and I was either in the NICU by myself or I
mm-hmm,
was at a hotel room by myself.
yeah,
Like Jess came a couple of times and would stay a couple of nights, but it was like
yeah,
mainly I was alone.
yeah, it's because it's so hard because it's like, because even with me like not working, it's like I still had like
She has our
school and
family and
kids, and like Will had to work, and so it's like I tried to go down there like as much as I could, but it's like you were down there for like days at a time without seeing anybody else, because even like Nick couldn't come down as often as he wanted to either.
no, because he
So
had all the boys and
mm-hmm,
was trying to work like if he could.
yeah,
So it was really hard, but I would definitely say like Jesse's was a lot worse. And again, my circumstances were just awful. And like after Baker, it like I obviously like I was depressed, but it wasn't anywhere near like those ones. And then after Allie, that was our daughter that we lost. So like obviously it was like very very bad. Towards like I didn't want to leave my bed.
yeah,
I was very sensitive to everything, and I just had like no like
yeah,
motivation, no
yeah.
like
Depression from grief hits different.
yeah.
It's
So
so
it was like
much
I
more
was dealing with
intense.
my normal depression and seasonal depression and postpartum depression and grieving the loss of, my daughter that I was so excited about.
Yeah,
So it's like I like that one was really hard
mm-hmm,
and I just like didn't want to leave. Like I just felt like I just couldn't get out of bed,
yeah,
which was hard because then I had Baker that was needing me. And then, like, after Lincoln, with Lincoln too, I advocated for myself and had said, like,
mm-hmm,
especially because he was my baby that I was having after
yeah,
having lost Allie, that I was like, hey, this whole pregnancy has hit me different
yeah,
emotionally. And at the hospital, I was like, I need
yeah,
something. And that was annoying in the sense of like they were like, okay, cool, we're gonna schedule like a 2 week appointment
mm-hmm.
for you. And when I called to schedule that, I just hate the freaking like some of the receptionists and like schedulers at our doctor's office are just terrible. They are
I
just
may or may not have went off
bitches.
on one and called them a fucking useless bitch to their, well, not to their face, but over the phone
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago,
They're just
because
rude
they're so
and
rude.
judgy. Like they literally were like,
It's like,
and then
we're
she got
calling you for help with care. Like, why are you being such a cuntosaurus?
right. So when I had called to schedule my postpartum 2-week checkup after having Lincoln, which was a vaginal birth in the middle of a roundabout.
Yep.
I call and schedule this appointment, and she's like, well, did you have a C-section? And I was like, no, I did not. And she's like, well, normally the postpartum visit's at 6 weeks. And I was like, yes,
I
I'm
fucking know
aware.
that. We've done this before.
Yeah. I was like, I'm aware. My doctor wanted me to do a 2-week checkup for postpartum depression. So they wanted me to schedule a postpartum appointment in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, I remember this.
And she like said something else, and she's like, well, we just normally do it at 6 weeks. And I was like, yes, I understand that. I am just following what my doctor said. And she goes, Shelby, you don't need to get an attitude with me. And I was like, you're making me feel like shit for calling in to schedule this appointment that my doctor told me to call and schedule.
Yeah.
Like,
and this is what I mean about how fucking difficult it is to fucking advocate for yourself, because you're literally following doctor's orders, and they made it so difficult.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Oh, I was so, and it like made me cry.
Yeah.
I was so upset about, like, I was crying because it made me feel like shit.
Yeah. And it's like, that's the last thing that you fucking need when you're trying to schedule an appointment for your mental health.
Yeah.
Like, how discouraging is that? Like, with, like, if I was in that situation with, like, my RSD, like, I already know I would have hung up, gave up, been like, cool, fucking, I guess I'm never going back.
Yeah. I am like, in my post that I was talking about that I made 2 years ago, like about my depression and stuff, it's like I put in there, nobody can tell you that like you're not depressed. Like you can't see depression.
Yeah.
And there's so many good examples of that. And like the one that comes to my head is Robin Williams. Like I never would have known, you know? So it's like, you can't look at somebody and be like, oh,
yeah.
You can look at somebody and see that they're crying and be like, oh, they are sad.
Yes.
You can look at somebody and see that they are smiling and think, oh, they are happy. But it's like, you cannot see depression. You cannot see anxiety. And certain moments you might be able to see them, but like the big picture, you cannot. So to sit there and be like, oh, well, you're fine, or you have this, and this in your life, why are you depressed?
Oh, I fucking hated that. Like, I hate that, because I would get that from my mom all the time. Or, what do you have to be depressed about?
Right. Like, it's just not something that you can see. So like, it just bugs me that people judge others for it.
Yeah. Because especially for like people who struggle with like chronic depression and have had it for a really long time, and especially with like my ADHD, like I got really, really good at masking. I have a specific face for specific people that I hang out with, for situations at work. Like I have different like personalities. Like I can blend how my face reacts and how I am as a person to blend into society. Nobody would fucking know that I was like down in the trenches dealing with some really dark, devastating thoughts, because I knew how to portray that everything was fine.
Yeah.
Because it's abnormal to be upset or depressed or have any sort of mental health issue. Like society has made it to be such a, what, I don't know, like taboo thing, that it's like, oh, you have depression. It's like, fuck that. And that's why it's like this month is so important. If it's normal, you're not alone. It's okay to like express your emotions and to tell people what you're dealing with, because that's the human experience. Like I don't know why we got to this point where it was like not okay to show any sort of fucking emotion, or that like you're going through
That's not positive.
Yeah. Like Shelby is amazing about being so transparent and proactive about sharing like what's going on with her life, and like being very real and transparent. And she gets fucking shit from people, well, you're just doing that to seek attention.
Yeah.
Like that's not what this is. Like this is trying to get rid of the stigma that surrounds what everyday fucking life looks like. Like, so sorry that I'm not interested in creating a fake social media profile to make it seem like everything's all fucking hunky dory in my life. Because come sit in my fucking house for 3 hours. Like, it's not fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's why, like, social media is so fucking fake, and it's such a breath of fresh air to be like TikTok. You see a lot of great people who are like very real. Like, you do a great job of like showing behind the scenes of like what it's really like to be a mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's what's super important, is to be able to make those connections and to share those
Yeah.
stories so that it's not so stigmatized.
Especially because I feel like a lot of the TikToks that you see or a lot of social media that you see are these families that like seem so put together, and
Oh
their
my
houses are
God.
always clean, and they have these
Yes.
big beautiful houses, and the moms are always cooking dinner, or they have these
Yes.
snacks laid out for their kids, and they're doing like a beautiful snack restock
Yeah.
or
But
whatever.
what they don't tell you is that they have a fucking team of 10 managing everything in the background.
Right.
Like, that's not feasible for us.
No. And it's like, that's not real life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, it's not real.
But we'll hold ourselves to that fucking standard
And beat
because,
ourselves up because that's not what
yes,
our lives look like. But it's like,
exactly.
you're doing a good job with whatever, like,
Yeah,
the fuck your house looks like.
right. Because you know what a dirty fucking house means? It means your kids are loved, they're having fun, good time.
Yeah.
Like, it's lived in.
Right.
Yeah. I
So,
got to the point where I like stopped apologizing about the state of like Caden's room, or like my bathroom's a fucking mess right now. And normally I'd be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," but it's like, I have kids and dogs and like other fucking priorities. The
yeah.
top of my list was not to make sure that my house was spotless before you came
Yeah.
over. So
So, and
deal
I
with
think
it.
that's like, that can add to some maternal,
Oh,
like, because there are
100%.
some moms that make it, and this is what's annoying, is like, cool, if it's easy for you, it's easy for you, but it's not easy for everybody. And don't go
Mm,
onto social media and preach like, just had a baby, but I'm doing X, Y, and Z, no big deal. Because there are some, like, some moms can't do that.
mm-mm,
Like, they just
mm-mm.
can't. And
Oh, I couldn't do shit after having Caden.
no.
That C-section fucked me up. I couldn't even get in and out of bed
Yeah.
without William having to like roll me over.
Yeah.
And there are people who are like, "Oh, if you're not outside walking after 2 weeks, whatever." It's just like, way to like make me feel so judged and shitty as a mom for
Mm-hmm.
like putting out these like crazy ass standards. And it's like, this is not to diss those moms who do that, but it's like, if you are going to post about that, make it realistic.
Yeah.
Like, make sure that you're stating that you understand that this is not going to be a reality for every single person, and understand that you are privileged and you are very, very lucky to be in a healthy space where you can do that, so that other moms who can't do it don't feel like shit for not being able to do that shit.
Yeah. Because I think that was a hard thing for me, like, after Baker, because that's like when I
Mm-hmm.
really started like watching TikTok and things like
Yeah.
that, where it was like, wow, I feel like such shit, because like this person who's 5 to 8 years younger than
Yeah.
me has this like great house, has like all these
Mm-hmm.
nice things, like they have these great things for their babies, a beautiful nursery. And I think
Yeah.
that was like the hardest thing for me, is like the beautiful nurseries. Like, I didn't get to have that. Baker got a nursery, but then Lincoln didn't get one because he just went right into Baker's room
Yeah.
after our room. The girls obviously aren't getting one because they're in our room. I see all those, and it's like, that's great that you can do that. Not everybody can do that. Like,
Yeah.
more real everyday people. That's why I love Kristen Cook on TikTok,
Oh yeah.
because she's like, this is my house. Or what's her name, Emily, she does the, let me walk around my house, make you feel better about yours.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like
Like,
her.
those are real, and
Mm-hmm.
those are my favorite accounts to follow, because it, like, that I
Yes.
can relate to that. I can't
Yeah.
relate
Like,
to all
that's
the,
real fucking life.
yeah, I can't relate to all the,
Yeah. Because there are moms out there, like, even one of our girlfriends was like running on a treadmill 5 weeks after her season, and she had a rough C-section too. Like, we had very similar birth stories, her and I. And she was like right on that fucking treadmill working out. And it was so nice because she would post about her journey, but she did exactly that, where it wasn't judging others for doing it. She wasn't acting higher mighty about it. Like, she was just sharing her own like growth and journey. And I was able to appreciate that, not from a place of comparison, but of a place of like, fuck yeah, like, you go.
Yeah.
Couldn't be me, but like, you do that.
Yeah. Yeah. But she didn't do it in like what, demeaning or
Right, like, it
way.
wasn't
Like,
condescending or anything. It was like, she was very real about her experience, and she still is to this day, of like, I'm not seeing like the gains that I wanted to, or like, this was really, really difficult. Like, she was very transparent of like, this wasn't fucking easy. Like, I was in a lot of pain. And so it doesn't give you unrealistic expectations of what you should be doing.
yeah. I just wish that there was more like
Realness.
about these things, because
Yeah.
there's not. And that's the frustrating thing, is like, when you are real, especially when it comes to mental health, a lot of people will, like, that was one of the things that my mom had said in her letter, is that like, I was, you know, posting things on social media to make people feel sorry for me, specifically about my dad dying. And it's like, my dad died.
Yeah. Like,
I'm allowed to miss him.
Yeah. Like, we're not attention seeking in that regard.
Right.
Like, the fuck?
So I don't know. I like, we've talked about it before, we're both very passionate about like just mental health, period, but especially like maternal mental health. Like, if people are telling you like, oh, we'll just go get a therapist, or oh, it's just the baby blues, it will pass. Like,
yeah, sometimes it doesn't.
Don't listen to them. Like,
yeah,
if you don't have, or if they're like, just go get a therapist, if you don't have the energy for it, don't beat yourself up over it.
Yeah.
Like, I would just say, at least find at least one person.
Yeah. Get a support network of some sort.
Yeah, that you can at least talk to. Like, for me, that is Jess. Like, I didn't have that back when Jessie was born. And like, luckily I've been able to have that through the rest of my babies. But
yeah,
like I said, like, getting a therapist is daunting to me, and it's just like, it's too overwhelming of a task when I have so many other things on my plate, that I might say that I'm going to do it, but I'm going to be honest, I'm not.
Yeah.
Because it's just too overwhelming of a task for me right now. But it's like, at least have that one person that you can talk to
and be there for support,
and know that it's like, okay, that you're feeling the way that you're feeling.
Yeah.
It's very normal.
It's so normal, and it's so common. That's why there's a whole fucking month dedicated to it.
Yeah.
Okay? You're not alone. Yeah.
We appreciate, again, any ideas you have for us. We did get one idea, and that's how we're gonna spend like our eternal lives in hell, apparently.
Which fucking makes
Don't know
me
where that came
laugh
from.
so hard, because it's like, it's obviously somebody who's like very offended about like what we're doing and what our content is, and that we're going to hell.
Who knows what they're offended about?
Right. And it's like, do you think we're like a lesbian couple, or are you upset that we cuss on our podcast episodes? Because like, I'm so sorry.
Do you think we're in like one big polyamorous relationship?
Yeah.
What's
like
happening?
like why what?
Somebody else said they commented on our short of us talking about our
strip club names.
Thick strip club idea, and they were like, I don't go to regular strip clubs. Double no for me.
Right. It's like, cool. So like, then this wasn't geared towards you, and you can fuck off.
Right. So like, constructive feedback is great. We'd love that a lot more than like, you think you're hurting our feelings and you're not. We laugh. Like,
we literally
I sent her a screenshot last night, and she was like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah,
apparently we're spending our eternal lives in hell. Like, at least we're together.
Yeah.
And it's warm.
We'll fucking see you there.
Yeah. So like, if anybody has any like actual ideas for us, again, we'd love to hear them. As we were prepared this time, we are not prepared every time. So
facts.
We still love ideas. But yeah, make sure you're following us on all the things. And thanks for tuning in this week again.
Yeah, and don't forget, link in the bio if you are interested in trying Marco Polo. Again, free, no credit cards required. Like, literally just get to try it out. So check it out.
And like, talk to your friends without committing to a full-on phone call.
Hell yeah.
Those are inconvenient, and who does those anymore?
Social anxiety. All right. Well, until next time.
Bye.
Bye.